Welcome to the Healing Hut. I'm Mike Jones, and this is episode 14. I want to fill you in of what I plan on doing this episode. But first, I want to talk a little bit about the last episode. I'm sorry if the information I got me down quite a bit last time about the power company. That's still in limbo. I've been out of town for a week, but while I was out of town, I reached out to some surveyors, and we're going to try to get our land surveyed. It's still difficult to get a surveyor who's willing to come out, and we'll see what happens this time, but that's a starter. If the survey finds out that the easement of the power company, which was done in 1953, is not through the footprint of the cottage, which I hope, no one knows where it is. I try to read the information about the location, and it was confusing to me, but of course I'm not a surveyor. So if it turns out that the easement is not in the footprint, I think we might have this whole problem solved. But if it goes to the footprint of the cottage, there may be a legal case involved. They're going to want me to tear the cottage down, which I can't even comprehend that right now. So there's that. Now, I'm going to talk about what I'm going to be doing this episode. I had, I think, 430 viewers of this last time. So I'm trying to do a little better in my videography. Making videos while I work is my last thing on my mind because I'm just trying to get a lot of work done. And what you see is like 5% of what I actually do during each week or two. So I'm going to try to do a little bit better, make better videos. Some of the things you can't see very well due to lighting, and sometimes I don't have the camera aimed properly, but I'm going to try to do better since there's more people coming. One person asked something about my placement of my ads. Well, I don't do ads on YouTube. This is a non-monetized video. I'm doing this for myself mostly. You're my imaginary friends that I have here when I'm working. So I don't put ads on. YouTube puts ads on, and that's the way they make money, is putting YouTube on things. I'm going to show you, this doorway is finished. Now, I got to clean this off. And I think the concrete, you can see the darker gray. I'm going to use a steel brush and probably get it to match up a lot better. And then I put a sealer on it because the regular floor has a sealer, and it'll probably match up. But that conduit is all done. I got the proper wire and a gray wire. And so that's done. My other conduit that comes up in the kitchen area, oh, there's more water in it. I'm going to have to siphon more water out. I'm puzzled a little bit about where that came from. It must have been up in the pipe because I had it all clean. So you'll see me down on my knees siphoning that water out again. I want to keep that water out of there. So I got that wire threaded into here. So this time, I call it my high wire act. I'm going to go up this ladder, which always feels very precarious to me, because it leans against a sloping roof and you always feel like it's ready to fall. I'll go up there right now and show you what I did last time. Hope this doesn't fall. If it does, you can sell this video to somebody who likes to see people fall. You can see the boxes I put in a little better. I have to climb with clumsy feet in one hand. So there you go. There's what I did last time. I made those boxes and those wooden blocks. First thing I'm going to do tomorrow is tack up this wire and that's hanging here and try to run this one circuit all the way to where the breaker box will be going. So that's what I did last time. It didn't show up very well when I videotaped it. But just because I don't want to just do wiring, I'm going to do some carpentry work after I get this one line up, I hope. And I'll show you what I'm going to be doing carpentry work-wise. This lean-to area I mentioned before, this one area, the inside is my bathroom mechanical room. I'm going to put siding on it. And I'm going to go ahead and show you my siding, my stash of siding. This siding is over 100 years old. I'm going to you'll see me putting up lath first. This is my lath because I want to create a a space between the wood and the wall with vents at the bottom and vents at the top to keep moisture out. When you put wood right up against a moisture-proof barrier, there's a tendency to have moisture behind the wood. So this old wood I will come down and clean it up. I need to put some kind of sealant on it. I might just use Thompson's water seal. I don't know if I'll put any other finish. I don't want a glossy or anything like that. I got to straighten out this window. It's a little bit crooked still. I haven't worked on it since I put it in. Now I'm going to check on this other window that still has not come in from Lowe's. It's been 2 months now. He said it'd be 6 to 8 weeks, I think. So we're at the 8-week mark. And I want to put this window in if it comes in. I have to go over to the mainland for chemotherapy this afternoon. And while I'm there, I always check on my window to see if it's come in yet. So I'll take you up and show you my old 100-year-old siding. It's called Dutch lap. It's a common red. There must be a name for this red that you see barns and old buildings colored in. It's sad, but while we were gone for a week, we had a house sitter who didn't understand that the chickens could not be left outside, and she put them outside the free range. So we had 5 chickens murdered, probably by coyotes. That's why there's feathers everywhere. So now we're down to a small flock. And our goats, how you doing, B? You guys been lonely? You know, I don't think we have time for a walk today, but tomorrow we'll take a walk. I like to take a hike with the goats. They really love that. Yep. This is B and her 2 sons who've now grown up to be adults. Okay, here's what I'm going to show you, and then I'll end this little segment. I'm going to show you my stash of 100-year-old siding wood that I tore off some of it's short, some of it's on. I tore it off of a gymnasium. It was a gymnasium and community center that was built. It was really a unique place. So this wood will have to be cleaned up. Not just clean dirt off, but have to cut off splintered ends and things like that. But I have enough. I have 3 big piles. Let me see if I can get this up any better. Nope, I got 2 tarps. To show you. Yeah. Oop, there it is. So clean off the loose dirt and then cut off the splintered ends. Take the nails out. And then, so that's going to be a lot of work. And then put some Thompson's water seal on it. So I'm not sure how much of the siding I'll get done. This segment will probably follow me for about 2 weeks. Anyway, that's where things are. If there's any new developments about the power company, I'll fill you in on that. Thanks so much for coming along. This means a lot to me, and I will try to make these better as I go. And I'm in better spirits than I was last time. I was pretty beat. Cottage building that you don't see. I just came from a podiatrist office to get an injection in the bottom of my foot from standing on ladders building the cottage, and now I'm at it's called Star Surveying Company. If you can see the sign. I went through 900 pages of documents about our property, and I came up with probably I'll show it to you. I don't know how many. I'm going to tear it. Probably a good 15 pages of documents that describe in easements and things. So they're going to be doing a survey. But This is part of the cottage building. It's so cold today, I'm not sure if I get out. Well, it's been almost 2 hours. I've been working on running one wire. That's what I'm calling this a high wire act. I'll go up there and show you the problem is. But I'm going to show you while I'm on the ground, the light that's going to hang from these boxes. It's on a chain. Sort of an antique barn light. I'm going to shorten that chain. I don't want the light to hang below 8 feet. But I'm going to show you the problem I'm running into that's taken so freaking long. There's codes for how often you have to put staples in wires. Within 1 foot of each junction of the wire, like an outlet or switch. And also 4.5 feet, at least on the long run. Staple over 4.5 feet. But look at this crack. I have to staple up in that crack. And it is almost impossible. You cannot get a hammer up in there. So I have to hold the staple and tap it very lightly and tap it and tap it and tap it for 15 or 20 minutes till it holds, and then start pounding it till it goes in. And it usually falls at least 3 times. And then I have to climb down my ladder. I don't like working in high places, really. This is my feet's only about 15 feet up in the air, but a fall from there would probably be the end of me. Another thing I've realized, this mantle above my door, I built it in the basement. I want to do some fancy joinery on it, and it looked really good. And then I brought it out here and mounted it, and 2 things happened. One, when I put the door on, I had to plane it down because the board itself was too thick, and the door wouldn't close right. And then I don't know what the heck happened on this end, but there's a big gap that formed, and then the board broke. Now the old Mike would say, just let it go. But I'm trying to force myself to be patient and do things right. So I'm gonna have to take that down, and I'm gonna have to remake it. And I'm also gonna plane it on the back side so you won't see all that markings on it. And I'm also going to run a canal underneath the whole mantle where I can run wiring, because I don't like to put wires through my supporting beams. There is a rule about how big of a hole you can drill through a beam that supports it, and you could do it and get by with it. But for me, I would prefer not to damage my beams that hold up the roof. If that makes sense to you, it makes sense to me. All right, well, hang in there. Joinery is a real art form, which I don't possess that talent, but I've been working on this lintel for a good hour, trying to precisely fit it, and these joints have to be just right. You want them tight, like a razor blade could fit in, but if they're too tight, which I ran into trouble, I'll show you when I mounted it. This end piece broke off. I hope I can glue it back on. I think I can glue it back on without being too ugly. But it was just a hair too tight. And now I realize that this buttresses up against one of my old Civil War beams. And the Civil War beam, I just noticed this wasn't fitting right, and it's bowed out in the middle. And it's got nails in the beam, so I can't plane that, but I can plane this board. So I'm gonna plane a concave middle to this board so it will try to fit better. Good morning. It's now Friday. I haven't got a lot done this week, again, due to many things. One, I've been sick again. Every time I fly, I get bronchitis, and yesterday I was pretty sick and didn't do anything out here. The day before, I was working on my high wire act, and when I was trying to drill a hole up 20 feet through above a beam, the drill caught the wood funny and almost threw me off the ladder. And I decided to not work on that anymore until my wife is home, because it'd be really hard for me to call 911 with a broken femur from up there. Excuse me. So the other thing I did, I recreated a lintel that goes above the door. This is the old one. I had to plane it down for the door to fit, and it looked ugly, and then it broke on this end, and so I remade it. Also channeled out on the back side a groove to run my wire. Now I didn't know this until I was working on this. That this beam has a big crack in it, and I just hope it doesn't cause the beam to fail. It goes all the way through. If I'd seen that before, I wouldn't have used it. Now, the other exciting thing, I was over in the mainland doing chemo, stopped by Lowe's and to see if my window was in, and not only was it in, they said they'd had it for 2 months and was getting ready to send it back. And that's a little irritating because I've been over there several times and they said it wasn't in. So I'm going to try to mount that myself today. And then I'm going to start getting ready to do siding out here too. So you might see several of those things done. Oh, breaking news. The other thing I did yesterday was I went to a surveyor's office. I have a little video clip of me outside the surveyor's office. And I gave them our 15 pages of documents that outlined the easement for the power company back in 1953. And I'd read it, and I didn't see anything about an easement that would come in contact with the cottage, but I'm not a surveyor. But they got back to me at the end of the day, and they said, the way it describes the easement is that wherever the wire is, directly below the wire is the easement, but there's no land on either side of the wire, nowhere described. And they said they're not going to do a survey because it makes no sense. And said my cottage is not encroaching on their easement, according to the surveyor, so they don't need to come out here to prove that. I sent that email to Puget Sound Energy, and let's see what they do with it. But I'm hoping that's the end of this nightmare with them. But it's just upsetting, you know, for them to send me an email 2 weeks ago saying you got to tear your cottage down. But this is not over yet. I'll keep you informed. Well, good morning. I'm closing in on the end of another episode, and I'm disappointed in what I've gotten done in the last 2 weeks. That's the way it goes. And my wife keeps reminding me I don't have any time schedule, except I do still want to be on this earth long enough to finish this. But this last 2 weeks, of course, last week I was in Florida and taking a break in 75, 80 degree temperatures. And now I came back up here where it's been in the 30s, in the low 40s. Plus, every time I fly, I get bronchitis. And I'm happy, thank God, that this episode seems to be ending pretty quickly. So earlier in the week, I got very little done. One day I didn't work at all. I felt so bad. And it's hard working when you're coughing all night and then you're out in the cold during the day. Well, one thing I got done yesterday, now this is a window that I've been waiting on. I got it installed and it went so easily. It fit perfectly. And I was even going to comment how easy putting windows in. And then I came back up here last night and I went to open the window. And to my horrors, I don't know how this happened. We put it in upside down. Now I'd set it on the ground right side up. And then I went to get my wife to help me lift it in. And somehow when we were putting caulk on it, she was holding it and I was turning it. It's my fault, putting caulk on it. That I then inserted it upside down, which became a blooming nightmare. So I probably spent an hour getting all the caulk out. I had all the flashings on and everything. Had to rip all that off and then go get her again, help me turn it around, take it out. Then I redid it. So that, I hate when I make mistakes and have to delay, especially when I'm behind schedule. One thing I'm happy about, this is my old lintel that was above the door. This part here I added just as a reference, but it started to look ugly. I had to do all this planing to get the door to fit right, and it was ugly. And I spent 2 days this week. That's all I did was chisel out a new lintel, if you can see it. It's much better. I mean, it's got that rustic look, but it looks much better. And the problem is you have to wet it to this Civil War era beam. And the beam is loaded with nails, and this 120-year-old fir is full of nails. So you can't just plane it like you do normal wood because of the nails. So it took me 2 days of trying to work around the nails. You can't pull the nails out; they're so old and rusty. So but I had to chisel this out by hand, and I think it looks nice. I got a crack here. I don't know if I fill it or not. I filled the last crack, and on the other one it looked ugly. So also my wiring up above took much longer than I anticipated because it's so hard working up high. It took me at least 30 minutes per staple to get it up in those cracks, and I got them all in. I still got a little work to do with the wiring, and today I'm gonna go ahead and video me getting this wire attached to the first switch. And it might be all I get done today. Now, in my grandiose ideas. When I started this episode, I said I wanted to work on siding of this lean-to area, and obviously I'm not going to get to that. I do hope that this coming week I can get a lot more done. If I can spend 3 or 4 hours per day working consistently, that would be great. This past week I also had 3 medical appointments, including a day of chemo infusions. That this coming week I have none of that. So unless something else happens, I hope to make better progress. In case I don't say anything else, I do want to thank you for coming. I've had, as of this morning, 510 views of this, which surprises me and makes me want to do better at videotaping and trying to make these. If these people are coming, I should give them something to watch that makes sense. My update on the power company issue, I've still not heard back from them. I presented them the email from the surveying company. It said there is no description of an easement on our property except wherever the wire is, directly below the wire is an easement. And you can see here the wire above has a clear 6-foot difference from the wire to the corner of the building. If they accept that, I'm off the hook, but they've already threatened that there's going to be more problems. I don't know why. It's a multi-billion-dollar company, and why do they pick on somebody who's building a cottage as part of their cancer therapy? I don't know. I really don't know. It's just I think it has to do with the personality of the individuals and their power struggle, or maybe, I don't know, maybe their dog doesn't love them at home, and they, I don't know. But anyway, I'll be back, and next week I hope you'll see me making progress faster. But thanks so much for coming along. You are my my invisible friend when I'm up here working alone so many hours a day. And you have a good week if I don't speak to you again.